Before JobMaker, there was JobKeeper, touted as the most expensive welfare program in Australia's history. This week, the most expensive welfare program in Australia's history became a lot less expensive.
JobKeeper scheme is a lifeline for many, a national wage subsidy for millions. We were told it came with a huge $130 billion price tag.
Late on Thursday, the Treasury Department fessed up to an extraordinary bungle. It told the Treasurer there weren't 6.5 million Australians receiving JobKeeper payments. There were only around 3 million.
Meaning the estimated cost of the scheme is slashed by $60 billion to $70 billion.
Treasury and the ATO miss this calculation by almost 50%.
Hey, don't stress. If I know the ATO, they're very forgiving when you miscalculate a number. So, facing the biggest budget balls up in our history, Treasurer Josh Frydenberg assumed apology position in front of the government's social media wall and toured as many shows as possible to explain himself.
You've also made a massive mistake.
The PM made it clear that the buck, or 60 billion of them, stopped with him.
The estimate was overstated. We acknowledge that. I acknowledge that. And ultimately, I have to take responsibilities for those things.
It's one of the all-time great whoops-a-daisies. But still, this is good news. JobKeeper is a terrific scheme. The only problem is it doesn't cover foreign workers, people in the arts and university staff. Now we know the money is there, we can treat those workers like they deserve help too.
The money is there. We know that the money is there. How about expanding the JobKeeper scheme now or extending the Job Seeker? We know that there are a lot of people out there. There are foreign workers, there are people in the arts, university staff who are desperate for some help. Will you extend the scheme?
The money, as I said, is borrowed money. So it's not a pot of money sitting there just waiting to be spent and waiting for the government to decide how to spend it.
Now, I am not going to contradict Assistant Treasurer Michael Sukkar by saying the number of employees suddenly being reduced to 3.5 million should trigger wholesale changes to the JobKeeper scheme. I'll leave that to Assistant Treasurer Michael Sukkar 2 weeks ago.
If today you said to me, Michael, well, there's only 3 million employees who are covered, you know, it was half what we expected. In that case, I'd be saying to you, yeah, look, there's more of a likelihood of wholesale changes.
Yeah, good to hear. I mean, you can tell that JobKeeper's a great program because these guys just presided over one of the biggest screw-ups in history and they all get to keep their jobs. Despite lockdown restrictions lifting and social visits back on the agenda, 5 states and territories refused to reopen their borders, ignoring the calls of New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian to come over and hang out again.
We intend to keep our borders open. We think that's best for New South Wales.
New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian wants to get the country moving now, while other state and territory leaders are refusing to cave into that pressure.
Ouch! You sent out your invitations to your first party in 2 months and still no one shows up. That's gotta hurt. Keen to save face, Gladys was confident that it was the other premiers who were missing out.
New South Wales Premier Gladys Berejiklian has claimed that states keeping their borders closed is actually stifling the nation's economic recovery.
She has a point. New South Wales' neighbour to the north, Queensland, receives $27 billion annually for tourism, which is almost half a JobKeeper screw-up. So why won't the other premiers listen to New South Wales?
You know, we're not going to be lectured to by a state that has the highest number of cases in Australia.
New South Wales had the Ruby Princess. I mean, seriously? And they're trying to give us advice on our borders? Seriously?
Oh, sure, you let in one boat that causes 10% of Australia's infections and they never let you forget it. But as one Ruby Princess was used to justify closed borders, another Ruby Princess wanted them open.
Pauline Hanson is threatening High Court action as the Queensland government insists borders will remain closed until September.
I think it is definitely unconstitutional under Section 92 of the Australian Constitution to actually have the borders closed.
So Pauline Hanson is pushing for looser border controls and I'm left wishing they'd stop the boats. Something has gone terribly wrong with this world. Oh, that's right, the pandemic. Oh, you forget. On to 60 Minutes, the show I remember as a bastion of journalistic integrity. Think of great interviews. Negus interviewing Thatcher, Vent interviewing Arafat, Martin interviewing Chamberlain while wearing a suit made of the same material as her couch.
No way.
All week, it looked like 60 Minutes was set to add to this proud legacy as they promoted a dramatic interview between Carl Stefanovic and radio stars Kyle and Jackie O.
On 60 Minutes, Kyle and Jackie O's. I don't give a 20 years of radio mayhem.
The promo had everything. Loud noises,
but
startling revelations.
I'm not his mother.
And an emotional cliffhanger that had even the harshest of Kyle critics leaning forward in their seats.
There's a condition that I've been diagnosed with that I haven't spoken to anyone about.
I was hooked. I mean, that is the 60 Minutes I remembered. And you know, this had to be a serious health condition if they thought it was newsworthy in the middle of a pandemic. So on Sunday, I tuned in to hear the shocking news.
Well, there's a condition that I've been diagnosed with that I haven't spoken to anyone about.
Are you joking?
Yeah.
Holy moly. Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you do that, 60 Minutes? You wasted my precious minutes. 60 of them. Well, 44 plus ads. And all I learned was that Kyle is fine and 60 Minutes looks terminal. On the weekend, the New York Times published this stunning front page to mark the United States approaching the grim milestone of 100,000 coronavirus deaths. But while America was mourning its losses, guess who was hitting the golf course?
Those who know Betty Higgs know all too well she's at home on the golf course.
No, not 92-year-old Betty Higgs of Arnold, Victoria. Well, technically, yes, obviously. But guess who else was hitting the golf course?
A return to golf amid the pandemic. A sign of his desire to push the country to play through.
Yes, President Trump, captured here using the media's Bigfoot sighting filter, took a break from not stopping the virus for a round of golf at one of his properties. It's not a good look. If you are going to go golfing during a pandemic, you should at least put the little flags at half-mast. Still, it's been a big few months, and who would begrudge the president one day of golf? Except the president begrudging the last president around during the 2014 Ebola crisis, which killed 2 Americans, not 100,000, and prompted Trump to call up his favourite breakfast show, Fox and Friends.
He's played a lot of golf. There's no question about it. And, you know, when you're president, you sort of say, like, I'm going to sort of give it up for a couple of years and I'm going to really focus on the job.
Exactly. We need someone who will give up their golf game to run the free world, and I think I know just the person.
I've got this.
Damn right you got this, Betty Higgs of Arnold, Victoria. And that's the week.